Well, I guess to really show some of this, how a knife that would be more designed for hunting is going to perform for bushcraft tasks, I have to do some feather sticking. So this is a piece of maple, and I always like to work with maple. It is indicative of what I have here. It's very easy to get. And it's a harder wood, and I like that. So any of you who work with the full flat grinds, you're aware of how they work. And that's what we're dealing with here. That's exactly what we're dealing with here. So that full flat grind just has a nice low drag, very, very efficient knife. And you know, as I've stated before, these knives are not going to plane wood as good as you know, some of your Scandinavian ground knives. And you know, if they don't, it's really no big deal, because I usually do not need to have you know, such intricate carvings or something so controlled. Usually it's when it comes to really doing a lot of this stuff, a lot of it really isn't pretty. Large bouquets of, you know, feather sticks. They're beautiful works of art. They're fun to do, and it's great to hone your skill, you know, and do different things like that. Try out different knives and different grinds, and but out there doing this stuff, it's really not a natural or thing that you're going to need to do. It'll do, you know, nice work, but you know, the thing I like about it is that it crosses over, you know, so nicely from slicing and food prep and those things, which I find equally as important out there. And that's what I look for in my belt knife. I want some well-roundedness. I don't want anything that just screams, hey, I do this really well and the other stuff sort of well, you know. And when you start getting into thick Scandinavian ground knives, you're going to have that. Maybe one-trick ponies, if you will. And they do other things. And as I said, I know that there's people who do everything with them, doing out their whitetail and things like that with a heavy Scandi ground knife, and doing all their camp craft and that. And that's great. That's awesome. There's a place for everything. There's no wrong tool to use. I mean, unless you were using a screwdriver to plane wood. But I guess, you know, there's no, I'm not showing you the wrong tool to take out into the woods to have as a belt knife, and nor is the person with a thick Scandinavian ground knife. So, you know, we can continue to make some more here while we talk about this. But the nice thing, as I'm stating, is just you can do a myriad of tasks pretty good with a knife like this. You know, we've batoned some wood, we've made some shavings. Of course, when it comes to cutting things like cordage and those things, these full flat grinds like this, man, wicked efficiency with things like that. Tension cutting, same thing. You bend down your branch with this knife, and rock that on there, and instantly you're cutting into the fibers of the tree. You can feel it. You can feel the bite with knives like this. And the difference too with cross grain batoning that you're going to have with a full flat grind is over a Scandinavian ground knife, is that you're going to bite deeper with a full flat grind, obviously. Okay, but the drawback of it is you also get a little wedged in there, so you got to get it out. You use a little more energy to get the knife out of your cut, where in many instances that Scandinavian grind doesn't allow you to bite deep, but as a result, the benefit of that is you never get your knife wedged. So you be careful of that, or just something to think about in those terms. But we'll have more on this knife. I know people really enjoy this knife, and I do. It's one of my favorites to use. It's a great all-arounder. Stay tuned. We'll talk more about it.